on our next speaker, Ms. Kate Veronneau. Director of Women's Strategy, Kate Veronneau joined Zwift in 2016. Oh, do we have a video? Is it ready?
No video yet.
Okay. Kate has been responsible for driving some of Zwift's most pioneering initiatives, including the 4-year title sponsorships of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift and Paris-Roubaix Femmes avec Zwift, as well as Zwift Academy, the groundbreaking global talent ID competition that launched in 2016 to award a pro contract with women's world team Canyon SRAM Racing. Before her career in marketing, Kate was a pro cyclist in the U.S. and prior to this, played Division I basketball at Brown University, where she was awarded Ivy League Rookie of the Year and was team captain in her final year. Having firsthand experience of elite and professional sports gives Kate great perspective and credibility as she understands the problems and opportunities as both a sponsor and a former athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to present Ms. Kate Veronneau.
Drizzle. I love it. Okay. You're gonna have to excuse me. I'm a little bit nervous. Not about the speech. I love doing this. I'm a little nervous about the dance floor after the speech. I'm really smooth on a bike or a basketball court, but this is a different story. So, Rosanna, are any of your sisters here? Can help me out?
Yes.
All right, who here is from New Jersey? I know we have some Jersey. Thank you. All right, I'm Kate, and I'm a proud Jersey girl and a very, very grateful lifelong athlete. Athlete was my first and is still my favorite identifier. It's been a constant in my life, a constant gift, a constant challenge, a constant comfort. It's at the absolute core of who I am. I mean, look at me up here, right? The most powerful thing about sports is how they unite us. It's a language, it's a community, it's a culture. Sometimes it even feels like a religion. It brings us together as participants, as fans, as humans. It's somewhere I always felt like I belonged, no matter where I was. So basketball was my first love, and it got me all the way through college, as you heard. But when my basketball life was cut short by injuries, and I'm sure there's some people that can relate to this coming from other sports, I found the bike. And I never looked back. That was 20 years ago. I call cycling the gift that keeps on giving. This sport has so much to offer. There's so many ways to enjoy it, so many places to go, people to meet, QOMs to chase, donuts to taste. It's beautiful. So when I started in racing, and it gave me goals and drive and discipline and teammates again. It gave me confidence when I really needed it, and then humility when I needed it even more. I loved racing, but pro racing 10 years ago as a woman in the US wasn't really a viable career option. So I transitioned my love for bikes to work. And I worked at the T-Town Velodrome. Anybody know Trexlertown? Yeah, a couple of Philly people here. I worked for the Philly Bike Race. And then after that, I landed a really cool job, working for a bike tour company in Europe. I took ambitious cyclists to the Alps and the Pyrenees to witness the world's greatest race, the iconic Tour de France. Did you know that the Tour de France is the most watched sporting event in the world? Did you also know it's only been a men's race since 1903? There's been a few attempts at a women's version, but they paled in comparison. and they fizzled out almost immediately. So as much as I love cycling, it was complicated by the fact that though bikes are such a universal tool that can offer so much to so many, there were forces in the industry and the media and the race scene that were limiting access and opportunity. There were not a whole lot of women, and there certainly wasn't a whole lot of color. Cycling's history is both its strength and its weakness. It's timeless, it's ageless, it's poetic, it's stylish, it's gritty, it's gorgeous. But it's also struggled with diversity and parity and has been slow to change. Until now, because I look around this room and I see the future of cycling. So 7 years ago, truly, honestly, that ride today, I was telling a lot of the girls I was riding with, it was one of my favorite rides I've ever done in my life, and I told you, 20 years of cycling. So 7 years ago, Mike, MPH, Paint over there, and we moved to LA. And here I caught a glimpse of what the future of cycling could look and feel like. There's just an energy to LA. Things happen here. LA sports are a global stage. I mean, we got the Olympics again. This is, you know, people watch what we're doing in LA. And we were after that. We came to LA because we wanted to test our limits. We wanted to be in a creative environment amongst athletes and industry that challenged convention. So when we left the East Coast 7 years ago, I made a big show of selling all my trainers and my rollers, and I was like, see you, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Rhode Island friends, I'm never riding indoors again. And then 6 months later, I got a job at Zwift. Did you know that Zwift is a proud Long Beach company? We're right down the street. 9 years ago, just south of Silicon Beach, the idea to make indoor training fun happened here in LA. So let me tell you how I landed here. So in the early days of Zwift, I got to know the crew at Zwift, started riding bikes with them, of course, because that's how business is done, right? And one day, one of the founders, Scott Barger, said to me, we have a wild idea, and we think you might be a perfect fit for it. It was a little project called Zwift Academy. And Zwift was going to use their virtual platform to host a global talent ID competition to find the next pro cyclist. So basically a video game tryout. And they were going to do it with a pro women's team, Canyon SRAM Racing. So of course I said, you're all crazy, but where do I sign up? I'm in. And that's where my Zwift journey began. Now, 7 years later, Zwift Academy has launched the careers of a dozen incredible pros. We've launched Zwift Academy Try and Zwift Academy Run. And the success of that groundbreaking program gave us the confidence to do things differently, to make our own rules, to widen the road. So what else could we do with our platform? So when the world shut down in 2020 with the pandemic, Zwift had to step it up. With group rides, events, races all canceled, and everyone confined to their homes, the cycling world really needed an outlet. It was really heartwarming to hear that we kept people moving and connected during this hard time. But what else could we do? How big could we go? And that's when we made our move. So with a big question mark around the world's biggest bike race, the Tour de France, whether it would even happen that year, we said we could do it in Zwift. So in June of 2020, we partnered with the ASO, this is the organizing body of the Tour de France, and we hosted a virtual Tour de France in Zwift. 6-day stage race featuring all the World Tour teams, going to be broadcast by cycling media all over the world. And it was going to raise money also for some great causes. So we said, if we're doing this in Zwift, we're going to play by Zwift rules. And in Zwift, the standard is equal opportunity, equal distance, equal coverage, and equal prize purse for men and women. So that's what we did. We opened it up to a women's World Tour field as well. So we had a completely equal men's and women's Tour de France Virtual in 2020. And you know what happened? This is where it gets fun. The women's racing was better. They saw an opportunity to perform on a global stage, and they just lit it up. So they were honestly a little bit more experienced Zwift racers, because Zwift racing is a real thing. You know, it's a little different from the outside. You gotta Zwift race to be a good Zwift racer. But the action was just more exciting, and the viewership was off the charts with equal eyes on women's and men's races. So that event sparked the conversation with ASO. The women's pro peloton clearly deserves the world stage, and we want to help make it happen. And that's how this summer, my dreams and the dreams of a lot of women cyclists came true. So let's hit this video real quick.
It's a really special feeling. I've just got butterflies in my stomach and full of joy and anticipation about this wonderful event.
The feeling is amazing. Everyone's a bit nervous, but more than anything, super excited. We just want to get started.
Stage one of the Tour de France Farm Avec Zwift is underway. The riders are rolling now. Stage one, history is made. The first yellow jersey, Tour de France Avec Zwift, Lorena Wiebe.
Yeah, all right. So, introducing the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift. This one's here to stay. Our bet is if we can change the world's biggest, most prestigious bike race, then maybe we can be a catalyst to change the rest of the game too. I think a lot about how we got here, and it wasn't overnight. It was a whole lot of little steps. As much as it was like big bets like Zwift Academy, it's also been listening to and responding to our community who represents the changing global cycling community. We have a virtual world. We saw an opportunity, a responsibility to build the world of cycling that we want to be a part of. Our world can prioritize inclusivity and parity and diversity, and we can also have dinosaurs and volcanoes. Seriously though, the possibilities are endless, and that's the key right there. There is endless space in this sport. So much room for growth, so much room for joy, so much room for opportunity. And it's all of our responsibility to use what we have, our experience, our platforms, our talent, to share those gifts. You never know whose life you might change. So I'm proud of the work we're doing, but we're not in this alone. We get to partner with teams, clubs, community brands, media, and pros who also want to be a part of the change. Partners and friends in this space that know diversity is not a box you check, it's a superpower you unlock. With more opportunity comes more inspiration, more representation, more stories, more characters, more action, more adventures, and more fun. And at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun, right? Like Zwift, it's just a game. So in closing, I'm going to just tell a quick little story from my athletic career. So in 4th grade, we didn't have a girls' basketball team, so I had to play on the boys' team. And I could definitely hang. You guys know this. But the coach, Coach Nash, who had 6 boys, was not thrilled at having to accommodate a girl on the team. So to my horror, he decided that he was going to call me Princess the whole season. Every game, every practice. Princess up in, Princess get the ball. He thought it was really, really funny. I didn't think it was funny, but the athlete in me responded with more tenacity, more determination, and more fire. I was going to be anything but a princess. And the funny thing is, the joke is on Coach Nash because, you know, what happens to princesses? They grow up to be queens. So, and then you better watch out. So, I'm just so grateful to be here. I've already learned so much this weekend. I want to thank Ken and Robin and Ra and everybody that worked so hard to put this beautiful event together. I see this growing to be one of the most exciting things in cycling on an annual basis, and I'm thrilled to be here. And you know, like I said yesterday, come share your story with me, and let's have some fun today.
Jump on the new Swift Top Smart Trainer and jump in Swift. Work out at a time, ride with friends, and discover training fans program. Whatever your goal, it has never been easier to get there with Swift. Jump on Swift Top and jump into Swift. Start your free trial at Swift.com.
One more time for Kate Veronneau.